Hey, you're famous now? We're live. Yeah, we're live.
What's that on the computer?
I saw it on the internet now.
Who's gonna sing and who's gonna juggle? That's the
See if
thing.
somebody go to the website.
A lot of people would appreciate it,
Pick that up.
including my family.
It's on the website,
On our
on
website.
the council site.
We have an emergency declaration, resolution.
Until they take action as to what they wanna do, no reason to draft anything. Because it's been my opinion right there. I think they've gotta give, they're the elected body to give me directions. They can pass something verbally, and then we paper it later. It's not a big deal.
You might got to talk about
I got one.
these roads. Have you seen them? Got it. This is what came out last night.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is Wednesday, March the 18th. This is a call meeting of County Council for an update regarding the COVID-19 or coronavirus, as commonly known throughout our country. Before we begin, I would just like to say these are unprecedented times for our country, unprecedented times for our state and our county. The purpose of tonight's meeting is very simple. I'd like to also add about how we are handling the situation as it is right now. This is, as we all know, this is a very fluid and swiftly moving pandemic that is sweeping the country and the world. I'll have a few more comments as we get into the meeting. This time I would invite everyone to please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation provided by Councilman Joe Wood. Please stand for the pledge. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, as we come here today, it's a day for many special prayers. And Lord, we all wonder what's happening in our world, not only in our country, but the whole world. I believe in you, Lord, and I know there is only one way the whole world can be shut down. Only you, through you, can we all be saved. I pray for all the people that are caring for our sick. These people are putting their own lives in danger to save others. The Bible says that you will always provide for us, and I have to believe in that. I think you've got the attention of a lot of people in our country, a lot of people that are non-believers. I pray for the leaders of our country and the leaders of our world. Give the doctors and the chemists knowledge to defeat this virus. I ask that we all meet today and you give us knowledge and strength to do what we have to do. Our prayers are powerful, and I ask that as we move into the future, we all do what is pleasing in your sight. And I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please be seated. Since there was no agenda published, I'll just briefly go over the way that the order of this discussion will go. First of all, I'll recognize our county administrator in just a moment, John Caney, give us a quick overview. Then we'll go to department heads, beginning with Joey Abbey, Emergency Management, followed by Matt Pennington, the EMS, Sheriff Don Reynolds, Coroner Vicky Cheek, and then we have the mayor from Lawrence, Mr. Nathan Sand will be here. I do not see, yes, the mayor found me an opportunity to speak as well about what his city is doing. The city of Clinton called me and they were unable to attend, and I do not see anyone from Grateful. We will briefly discuss the governor's executive order in consultation regarding the March 24th meeting. Following that, we will discuss the pay for employees, the county employees who may or may not be able to attend work due to health care and child care. And last but not least, we will discuss the continuity of operations with the closure of the county buildings. Before I go any further, is there any council member that would like to see anything else discussed tonight? Hearing none. Okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Hearing none, we'll move right into it, and I'll recognize our county administrator, John Caney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On our webpage, you'll see two documents related to the county's response to the COVID-19. One kind of highlights adjustments to the daily operations, especially in light of the actions that we're taking today on the closure of facilities, libraries, and whatnot. So all that detailed information is available on our website. You'll also see a general synopsis. I know it may seem as though not a whole lot has been going on, but that's quite the opposite of the truth. You'll see a statement that Joey and I both put together in regards to some of the many things that the Lawrence County government, along with our other governments here in the county, have been doing. Just as a recap, on Wednesday, March 11th, that was a week ago now, the governor was quoted as making this statement: "There remains no cause for public alarm in South Carolina. Schools should continue to remain open and provide instruction. State government offices in all 46 counties will stay open. South Carolina should remain calm and continue their daily normal routines and responsibilities." That was on Wednesday, March 11th. Within 24 hours, the governor requested $45 million from the state budget to be available for the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control in response to this COVID-19 pandemic in South Carolina. The following day, on Friday, was when he issued a state of emergency in regards to closing schools in Lancaster and Kershaw counties. Then on Sunday, he issued Executive Order 2020-09, closed all public schools in the state of South Carolina. Late last night, he issued Executive Order 2020-10, which affects public gatherings, and I know we'll have a little bit of discussion on that. Meanwhile, the county emergency services, the municipalities, even the industries here in the county have been working very hard on a lot of different response. You can only imagine all of the different things that have come up. We've captured being taken. There's a lot more actions that are being taken by your local government to make sure that we do everything we can to support the citizens of Lawrence County.
Thank you, Mr. Caney. Are there questions of Mr. Caney from members of council? Hearing none, we will move into the, really just the informational portion of the meeting. And Joey, if you will come on, I'm going to start with our emergency management director, who has done a phenomenal job kind of keeping all of us grounded from our different perspectives, certainly mine from the school district as well. So Joey, this time I'd recognize you and you give us a quick update.
Members of the council. Turn this on so I can be heard. There you go. Mr. King, can you give them these copies of what's on the website for their review?
No, I did not.
If you want to give it to them?
Sure, yeah.
What this is a summary that Mr. King was talking about. It's a operation brief, so to speak, some information on the closure. See some of the work that we've been doing. A lot of our work is behind the scenes where it should be. Do a lot of brainstorming, a lot of thought process, a lot of discussion of what we don't have in the county that we need. Discussions on ways to come up with those supplies that we need to make our folks safe in the field. A lot of activity going on. We've got about 60 cases now in the state. It's what I just saw on the website as I skimmed through that. We have no confirmed cases in Lawrence County as of yet. However, I anticipate us getting a case, just like every other county, just like every other state. But our role is to educate, mannerism, to wash your hands, to sneeze in your sleeve, to do away with tissues. And that's about what we can do. And then we've been planning on the backside on closing operations. Maybe the operations will not close as quick as some people would like to have closed. But here again, we're the county and we need to lead. Whether we made the right decision or not, that's left up to the public to decide. I feel like we've made what we need to make, and we've decided on what we need to decide on. We have a good plan. We met with the department heads on Monday. We talked about some plan of action. Today, they implemented that plan of action. Got Mr. Satterfield here. Mr. Satterfield, the treasurer, the auditor, they're working that drive-through window. The clerk of court has the ability to walk over, grab documents through that drive-through window, process those. So we feel sure that the plan that we put in place, those folks have done a tremendous job on implementing that. To my knowledge, David, first time we've ever done that. First time. First time for a lot of things that we're doing. So we may not be perfect on everything, but we're certainly backing up and regrouping and seeing how we can do things better. If you'll go to the courthouse, Hillcrest Square, you'll see that we have the lanes in place to direct traffic, which is, again, another first to have it that detailed. We've had cones in the past for heavy traffic volume for people paying their taxes, but I think we've got a pretty good planned route of travel for those folks. So, county government's doing a tremendous job. The people sitting behind me doing a tremendous job. Folks sitting around the table, where you are, tremendous job. It's a team effort, and that's what it's going to take to overcome this virus, to flatten that curve out, so to speak, is that everybody's working together as one. Everybody's working and following the protocols to help sanitize themselves and sanitize their workstations, their eating areas and that kind of stuff. So there's been some drastic measures that's been taken. We're going to feel the repercussion. But by the same token, we all understand what's taking place and what's needed to overcome this virus. This is, like Mr. Chairman said, this is new to us. I don't know of anything in my lifetime that's been such an eye-opening experience. But I'll be glad to answer any questions. That's a summary of what we've done, and I can assure you that everything that we did is not on that piece of paper. Okay? We met after hours. We met weekends. We would call each other 10:30 at night, talk about what if, because we may have a call that comes in like that. We looked at our plans. We even I won't say reinvented, but we beefed up our EMD process to come in and question the citizens out there if they've got fever or if they've got flu-like symptoms. And what we decided to do is they got some of those criteria. We're going to bump it up to the highest level so that our first responders can put their PPE equipment on, walk in and service that citizen that's called for that call for service. By taking care of the first responders on the backside, it protects the first responder and it also protects the citizens out there. And that's our main goal. That's who we work for. That's who we're striving to service. So I'll answer any questions. That's about all I got.
Are there any questions of Joey at this time? Joey, probably call you back up shortly, just a minute.
I'd like to say something, Joe.
Go ahead.
I appreciate what you're saying, what you're doing, and what you have just said. This is not a one-man show. This is a team effort. And I think that's what's being accomplished right here in our small Orange County. And I thank everybody, I thank everyone involved. That's all I got.
Okay. Any other council members want to ask questions of Joey at this time? All right, you heard Joey. If you'll stay up there, Joey, as Matt comes forward. One of my concerns, and I'm sure yours as well, is our first responders, and particularly our EMS folks as they go in. You heard Joey mention, and Joey, if you'll come back just a minute, if you can go a little bit further into if a call comes in and there are particular symptoms that the caller is responding to, how your folks are handling it and what you're dispatching to EMS. And then Matt, if you can pick up there with the protective equipment that your folks have as you go in, and some of the protocols that you have as well. Okay, thank you. Joe.
Some of the questions that we ask, we've added certainly some questions. If the caller or patient describes any of the following symptoms: fever greater than 104, cough, shortness of breath. Those are some keys for us. How long have you had these symptoms? Have you traveled out of the country in the past 14 days since your systems have begun? Have you been in contact with anyone that has been out of the country in the past 14 days? Have you been in contact with anyone that has been tested positive or under investigation for the coronavirus in 14 days? After answering the questions, it's determined that the patient should be considered a person under investigation. Notifying fire, EMS, or EMS and fire in that order, units to use appropriate personal protection equipment. That's the key. We notify the first responders, Matt's supervisors notified, Matt is notified, and so am I that we have a patient that meets that criteria. That doesn't mean that that person will test positive once they get to the hospital, but that's the criteria that we use because we're going to err on the side of caution and we're going to bump that level up to protect these folks as they go through. So Matt, you pick it up from there.
So once a patient is identified as a person under investigation and our crews are notified of it, they are to put on appropriate personal protective equipment, which can consist of either a Tyvek suit or a gown, either one is appropriate, a face shield, an N95 or higher respirator, and gloves. And then they are to encounter that patient.
And all of your folks have been trained in that, the proper way to put on that equipment, is that correct?
Yes, sir. They have all been trained on we've sized them all to make sure they were the appropriate size. They've all been trained on putting it on and taking it off correctly.
Okay. All right, are there any questions of Matt and EMS?
Do you have all the equipment that you need?
We have enough right now, but as we continue to fit test or make sure that other first responders in the county, such as law enforcement and fire departments, have appropriate PPE, our supplies do go down. So on a daily basis, we are checking with our vendors to get additional supplies as needed.
And before you leave, Greg, if you could stand, because you may be the first responder on the scene, your folks are aware of this as well and have the PPE equipment.
We passed PPE out on Monday. We have enough for one round or to get by for this week or next week. Matt has got some more supplies in. We have not got all the volunteers fit tested yet because we're having trouble finding the kits to fit tested, but we are working on that. And we do have almost 300 volunteers, so this is going to take time for them. But all the paid staff on the fire side have been tested and ready to go.
Okay. And Joey, we dispatch not only county, but the cities, City of Lawrence, City of Clinton. We don't dispatch Fountain Inn, I believe, do
We could call on them as a mutual aid department, but we don't dispatch them as a primary resource.
And Mr. Steen, Mr. McClear, I know I'm calling you later, but your folks are aware of these protocols and should you be the first on the scene when the EMS is calling?
They are aware of the protocols, and Mr. Avery and our emergency personnel have met sort of planned in our response and interaction.
Okay. Are there any questions of Mr. Lindsay or Mr. Pennington?
Yes, one question was, what location, if you find somebody who's under investigation, I think you call it, where do they go? Where would you take them? Or if someone thinks they check their temperature and they think they have symptoms, where should they go?
The closest appropriate hospital. We would notify that hospital very early on in the process so that they can prepare on their side, because there are certain procedures they have to follow. And then once we arrive at that facility, we are to wait in the ambulance, and the hospital staff is to come out to the ambulance and screen that patient and then take them to a designated room inside the emergency room.
Any others? Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Greg. Next is Sheriff Reynolds. As he comes forward, anytime you have a large group of population of people, the concern is greater, and he has one of the largest in the jail facility. So, Sheriff Reynolds, you want to just touch on your folks, the sheriff's office in the jail a little bit?
Well, I thank y'all for the equipment that they can use, but unfortunately, the nature of the job, they're at a great disadvantage because they're not necessarily responding to somebody that feels bad. They're a lot of times responding to a hostile situation, so they'll do the best they can, which is not ideal in any kind of manner. So, I think if they equip for us, the mask, glasses and the gloves and so forth, but there's situations that you don't have time to wind your watch, so to speak. So, the thing is, that we, court administration has limited us to what we can do now because of, certain things we do concerning warrants and courts. So today we realized that we had to stand in a different direction. So we put out a message that any of these people out here in this county that are vulnerable, or you know somebody very vulnerable, has not much help, and it's already happened a couple, 3 times, we will respond if the check, it's pretty much like a welfare check, only we'll shut them some medicine or some food. So that it's just the nature of the job. We can't prepare a lot of times for what they need to protect themselves. As far as the jail, we're trying to screen somewhat as far as the temperature taken if the nurse is there. If they need isolated, we're gonna isolate them to try to maintain the sickness within the inmate crowd.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions of the sheriff?
How many do you have out there now? What's your population? The population is.
230, somewhat, it changes constantly, but it's.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, if you would turn your microphone on, so be sure that the streaming can pick you up, your voice up, if you don't mind.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Okay, thanks, Sheriff. Next is Coroner Vicky Cheek. While our effort is to maintain the health and safety and the welfare of the public, our employees are as equally as important. We briefly spoke with Ms. Cheek about her folks and their protective equipment. Ms. Cheek, you want to discuss any of that?
Well, we have been blessed by EMS and Clinton City, have given us, I think we have maybe 8 altogether, maybe 10, Tyvek suits, gloves, we're short. We got 2 boxes. What we use are thin, that we get from the hospital. So we have talked with, Sabrina with the Coroners Association. She's the president and has told us she's trying to get the state to supply us. So I had to fill out a paper last night and get sent in as to what we need. So hopefully the state will come across and help with some of our supplies, so we won't be taken away from them. And I just got a message from her right now, but I can't read it. So I don't know what it is. I'm getting them. She's sending in. I get stuff at 10:30, so she's sending us updates. But I don't know what she's.
This is a question that I don't have the answer for, and no one else may either, but it's worth asking. If we have a resident who dies, and we believe that it is from this, maybe I know we can play the what if game all night long. That's not my plan. But however, I'm sure if EMS is not called and the coroner's called, if you have that, then we're gonna throw up our hands and at least put some safeguards in place so that it is not transmitted, hopefully with the equipment. Is that correct?
But EMS can be called for it.
Well, if they die in the facility, EMS is not called, right?
Right,
Or if they die in hospice, you're not called.
I'm not gonna. I am called, but I don't have to go.
You don't have to report,
I have to take
right.
information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions of the coroner? Thank you, Ms. Chief.
I have a question on this for the coroner. Something you said, this is probably a Matt Joey or Billy question. Today at 11:30 during the national press conference, the DOD was authorized to release their supply of emergency supplies. Are we able to tap into any of those?
We had a email that I replied to, and they're trying to divvy that equipment out per county. And they told us approximately what we would be eligible to get. So we filled out the information that they needed and we sent it back to them. When we get that equipment, or if we get that equipment, we don't know, but at least we did our diligent part on that to get it into the county.
I did, Sabrina did mention the 3/4 gloves, which we have never had. I don't know if y'all have any.
No.
Okay,
That's 3/4 of it.
yeah, she said, yeah, but of course they come up here.
Okay, next we'd like to hear from two of our municipalities. We'll begin with Mr. Nathan Sin, Mayor of Lawrence.
Good evening, council. I appreciate the invitation to appear before you tonight, and I'm happy to give you a little bit of an update on what we've done as a city to respond to this emergency. Yesterday, as I'm sure you're aware, read in the press, I declared a state of emergency here in the city of Lawrence. Given the governor's declaration and president's declaration, I believe that to be in order. But our response to this emergency on local level has been primarily administrative, rather than invoking any particular special provisions under the law that would kick into play in case of emergency, and voluntary. So from the administrative perspective, we have closed access to City Hall and other city buildings. The only city building that is accessible to the public at this point would be the Police Operations Center, the old fire department on Lawrence Street. And that would be just the reception area. We have closed the Ridge and canceled all senior and youth programming that we have there. We are canceling all public events such as Main Street Lawrence events at least until April 17th. We will not be granting permits for private events. And we have worked with each of our department heads to look at how their individual department operations need to be modified so that we address this emergency and reduce person-to-person contact within the departments and person-to-public contact. We have worked really closely with Mr. Avery and the county and the city of Clinton, for that matter, in planning that, and at least with regard to our police and fire operations. And so we appreciate that cooperation. We also have put in place several voluntary measures. And so while we very much respect the constitutional rights of every American to peaceably assemble, one of the things that we've done is follow the guidance from the CDC in asking that all events over 50 be canceled or postponed until further notice. And we've actually gone farther in making a request that if there are events greater than 10, in accordance with the president's recommendations, that no groups greater than 10 get together. That and a variety of other public voluntary measures, I think, is in line with the guidance we've got from the administration and from the governor's office and DHEC. But I've been pleased that this week we've been able to meet with Chairman, Mr. Avery, leaders from Clinton, both in person and on daily conference calls to make sure that we are all working hand in glove with our responses and that we take as significant and robust measures as we can to limit the spread of infection here locally. But I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you have about the city of Lawrence and our response.
Are there any questions of the mayor?
I've done my job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sin. Mr. McClear, City of Fountain Inn Mayor. We appreciate your coming as well.
Thank you, Council Chairman. Just a quick update about what we've been doing in the city of Fountain Inn. When we heard there was the first case of Green County and subsequently the schools closing, we had a senior staff meeting along with myself and worked as a team to compile What we have posted, in case you are on our website or follow us on social media, we postponed or canceled all city events through the end of March. We're going to reevaluate that next week and most likely, I would expect, extend that to some degree. We've made city offices by invitation only or appointment only, and shut them down to general public access, utilizing our drive-throughs where we have them. We've limited a little bit of access to our parks. Our ball fields are not open. Our open fields are open. We're marking up police those as we can. And our playgrounds have some limited. We put some no more than about 10 people if people can abide by that. All of our recreation leagues have been postponed or canceled till the end of March. We've sanitized all of our city offices. We've had a professional group come into each of our places. That will be done by next week, by tomorrow. And then we'll be doing that every month for the next 3 months. About 90% of our city hall employees are about to start working from home. We've been able to work with our IT department to get them set up through our VPN network. Our activity center, our senior programs have been canceled until the end of March. Our public works crew, we're not using inmates at this time. We're restricting that just to our public works crew at this moment. If there are any delays, we kind of expect that. We inform the public to be flexible with us on that. We've also obviously made sure our public was aware of any sort of state or federal regulations or suggestions or orders, and making sure that they comply with that. We've used our chamber to promote our business community, and any business that has a change in their operations or has something they want to say, our chamber automatically puts that back out there for them. The chamber is sharing information. We're promoting, making sure people stop off and get something to go from a business. So we are, because part of the next steps are we are looking at the financial impact it's going to have on our budget for this year, but also projections for next year. We're looking at adjusting filings or penalties for filings. Hospitality tax is the main one there. And then also, I think a similar conversation with you guys about that tonight with employee days. That's a conversation we're having. This time we've given discretion, a lot of discretion to our department heads to make the best call based on their employee. And then city council will probably retroactively address that in April based on the reality of the situation.
Thank you, Mr. McClear, for that update found in. Does anyone have any questions of Mayor Clear? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Let's see. The only people I did call on from the county folks were Billy Wilson and David Satterfield. You're good, right? You're good. Good. All right. Next, I would like for us to have a discussion first about the March 24th meeting. You have a copy of the governor's order, and I'll just read it and I quote, any organized event or public gathering scheduled to be hosted or held in any location or facility owned or operated by the South Carolina or any political subdivision beginning Wednesday, March 18th through March 31st, if any such event or gathering could or would involve or require simultaneously convening 50 or more persons in a single room. My recommendation is council that we cancel next Tuesday meeting. We have certainly had more than 50 here, and if we take the president's advice of 10 or more, we should not convene. So I will make that in the form of a motion to cancel the March 24, 2020 council meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Anderson. I will open the floor for discussion by any council members. Anyone?
Just for transparency, would you mind reading the rest of that section you just read?
Certainly. Or more persons in a single room, area, or other confined indoor or outdoor space. This section does not apply to essential or emergency meetings of state or local government bodies, or gatherings of government officials or employees or other personnel that may be required in connection with the performance of emergency or essential government functions. However, to the extent possible, state or local government bodies should utilize any available technology or other reasonable procedures to conduct such meetings and accommodate public participation via virtual or other remote our alternate means. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All,
Excuse me, just a reminder, we need to have a hand vote. Raising of the hands.
all those in favor of the said motion, please signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. March 24th meeting has been canceled. The next discussion is regarding our employees. Due to school closings, primarily childcare, we do have some employees with some who are elderly and have some health issues. And so out of an abundance of caution, these employees have not and will not be reporting to work. I believe that the right thing to do is to continue to pay these employees as long as we can. Will there be someone who possibly will take advantage of the situation? There may. Let's be honest about it. I also believe that we put some discretion with our department heads to allow for discussion if we believe someone is taking advantage. I do not anticipate that happening. Excuse me, but there may be that reality. So, with that having been said, I would like to submit a motion to council to continue to pay employees of Lawrence County their regular work hours should they fail to be able to report to work due to child care and or health-related issues from now through March 31st, 2020. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second by Ms. Anderson.
Could you please restate the motion?
Yes, sir. That Lawrence County will continue to pay employees should they fail to report to work due to child care and or health-related issues and through March 31st, 2020. That's 2 weeks. We will reevaluate it afterwards. Now I'll open the floor for discussion of council members. Mr. Carey.
All due respect, I think that motion is too broad and puts us in a position not to make individual decisions and did not carve out essential services or places and departments that we have to have people report.
I concur with you. Could you make an amended motion to include that? I'm not sure how to do that.
So I'm not 100% sure that I can amend it in a way on the spot that would address everything we need. I would more recommend that we allow the county administrator to evaluate the individual cases and make a determination based on level of perceived infection, opportunity, elderly, sick, unable to get any other coverage to get to work. I just think it's too broad.
I agree with you. I'm looking for other council members for some guidance here. I'm willing to change it if you can help me craft it.
The reason why I seconded it is because I felt like at this particular time, to keep down a lot of panic and disorder, that it's only a 2-week span of time, and I realize that it's inclusive of our EMS and fire, those emergency people who really need to be on the job, but I'm trying just to include those individuals who are not emergency personnel. But I think a 2-week period of time to hold down a lot of the panic that people are having regarding this would be sufficient. And we will review it after another 2 weeks' time, because today is the 18th. And
May I suggest this? What if we add pending supervisor and county administrator approval, Mr. Carroll? Would that help? Or is it still too broad?
I still think if we're going to believe what we're told about the spread and the way it's going to progress, in 2 weeks, we will just now be seeing sickness come. So there's no way that
That's true.
in 2 weeks we can say, oh, well, now we got extended 2 more weeks, 4 more weeks, 6 more weeks. This is going to be very fluid, and I don't want to box us in being good stewards to the employees
there may be changes that happen tomorrow that are different from next week. I want us to have the ability to make those changes. It's the reason why I said we could put that as operational, case by case, county administrators.
All right, let's, what if we do this? If we change the motion to handle on an individual case by case basis with approval of county administrator. Is that?
I think that comes closer to addressing what we really need to do. We don't know yet what it's gonna look like in 2 weeks.
I agree.
And so it may be a little bit premature to put a blanket statement about absences or something. We don't know that daycare may not open back up for 6 months, and we can't not run our county for 6 months. And we
I agree with that.
everybody say they're sick and be out for 6 months. So that's the reason I'm concerned.
Matt, if you would step forward just a minute, can you kind of address some of the issues that you've had with personnel with child care so far?
Luckily, we haven't had any issues, but there is that issue out there. We do have a lot of single parents who do work for us, who do have school-aged children. And that is a concern that there may be an issue with childcare from that side.
Okay. Sheriff, have you had any that
I don't have one councilman, but I have had
you had one? Okay. All right, I'm still looking for suggestions here. I'm trying to get a compromise. Anybody? Ms. Anderson, would you agree to allow the county administrative department head to handle on an individual basis on a case by case?
I feel with it, but I really don't feel like, they need to be punished because of certain things. Within a 2-week span of time, and I think a lot of people are panicking over a lot of things. But I can work with the rest of the group, that's what they do.
Mr. McDaniel, what's that?
I'm just curious, would it be a better idea? I don't want to take food out of anybody's mouth, but would it be a better idea to do it retroactively once we have more time to assess what is actually going on? If there is going to be some relief from the federal government or state government, I think there's a lot of variables out there. I don't want people to go without compensation. I know a lot of our residents are living paycheck to paycheck. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this.
Okay. How about this?
How about a work from home amendment for the child care issue? I feel like it's probably more of a main concern than just the health is the child care. Am I right there?
Well, I know we have at least one department that has sent one, if not 2 workers home because of health issues.
I think we're trying to make this a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. This 2 weeks is not gonna break the bank, I don't think. So I can go along with either way you wanna do it.
Okay. All right, come back to you, Mr. Carroll. You got an amended motion for me down there yet?
No, we included, we're looking more toward childcare and illness, and we haven't narrowed an illness. Is it related specific to this virus, or could it be any illness? So we're in flu season, strep, pollen, anything. Somebody says I'm sick and can't come, well, we've endorsed, okay, well, don't, and we're gonna pay long. And so I'm just concerned how large it can be.
Okay. All right.
Ms. Anderson? I'm thinking if people come to their immediate supervisor and say, I am sick, that sick leave would be taken probably first before you can take your annual leave day. You have to, and we have sick leave and annual leave.
Correct, but that's not what the motion said. The motion said they would keep their regular pay, so it would not involve.
Okay. Well, I thought that would have to go with it. Okay.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna restate what I believe the motion to be.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna ask Mr. Kane to restate it since he wrote it.
I'm not exactly sure I captured it, but I captured the motion correctly. We will continue to pay employees should they fail to report to work due to child care or health-related issues through March 31st, 2020.
Pending supervisor and county administrative approval.
And I'm sorry, I was gonna add, I believe that the consensus was to maybe amend that motion officially to allow myself, along with the supervisor, to take that on an individual case-by-case basis.
Okay. I will officially, do I have to have another amendment to that motion? I don't think
I
so.
think you're amending your own motion.
Yeah, I'm amending my own. I just added pending supervisor and county administrator. All right, you got a motion that's been properly seconded. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes 5-2 with members Carroll and Patterson in opposition. Next, last of the thing that I have is the continuity of operations regarding Hillcrest Square and county transactions. One office that cannot close, and I believe you're in consultation with Ms. Lynn West, Office of Registration and Elections. Is that correct, Mr. King?
That's correct.
Okay, anything you'd like to say about continuity of operations?
I think we've pretty much spelled out the continuity of operations plan available on our website. So if there's any questions about things, you can feel free to get in touch with us, but I think it's pretty straightforward on the continuity of operations plan that we have now put in place. I want to thank all of the Lawrence County team, the government team, that reacted quickly on Monday, held an emergency meeting on Monday after the governor closed the schools to do a lot of what-if scenario analysis. And we put together this team approach to continuing our service to the Lawrence County citizens. Again, that continuity plan is available on our website should anybody have any questions.
Okay. I would like to, before I open it up to council members, I would like to thank Mr. Kamey and the folks that work for the county. That you all are out there on the front lines, and we certainly appreciate it, protecting the health and the welfare of citizens. I'd like to thank Mr. McClear and Mr. Sand, and also the city of Clinton and the city of Gray Court, and all 70,000 residents of Lawrence County as we continue to move through what is an unprecedented time for our country. At this time, I will open the floor for council comments. I will begin with my right, your left, Mr. Carroll.
Well, I certainly hope that we don't have to see what everybody is thinking is going to happen. So we certainly pray for that not to happen. I would encourage us not to get too emotional in our decisions, that we make good decisions for the county and that they're smart decisions and we think about fiscal impacts. That's
Yes, I'd just like to thank everyone who's out there working hard, keeping us safe. Those people who can't take a day off for one reason or other, that are putting themselves in harm's way. Thank you for what you're doing to keep the rest of us safe. I hope we continue to ride this wave out without incident. So far, we've been very lucky. I think we continue to be very practical about what we're doing in our daily lives, listening to the experts, being truthful. There's a lot of misinformation floating around that can cause more harm than good, actually lead to people getting infected. I just pray that everyone is truthful about and about what they know and not spread this misinformation. Additionally, Prisma Health is offering free virtual visits for anyone who thinks they have symptoms. It is prismahealth.org/virtual-visit. You will put in a code COVID-19, and you can speak with a virtual physician who is a actual real person and can help diagnose you if you think you may have symptoms.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
Well, I'm an optimistic kind of person, and I really think this too shall pass, just like everything else. And I really don't want to see us panic. I think if we take precautionary measures in all that we do, that it will suffice and everything will be all right. Now, that's my belief. And so I'm hoping that we don't see any cases around us, and I know there's a possibility for anything. But I think if we just keep our cool and don't panic and just go through the steps that we really need to go through, that everything will be all right.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Ms. Wood?
Well, I'm a man of few words. I don't say much.
Oh, no, you don't say that. Go ahead.
We can agree or we can disagree, and my remarks are my own. I read something this morning that really got to me. There was some accusations and remarks made against our chairman this morning by one of our own. And I feel they were uncalled for and a real low ball. We experiencing something that's changing on an hourly basis in our world today, or on a daily basis. This is a time that we as this council need to work together, not against each other. And this meeting right here proves that no one in this county has been sitting on their hands during all this. And I don't think anybody's gonna be sitting on their hands in the future. I just asked everybody to say prayer and whatever they can do. I believe in prayer. And maybe we'll get through this thing. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
I'd like to thank, all the department heads for what they're doing, not panicking, being cool. I'd like to thank you, Dr. Pitts, for being with about years, and, taking over the situation. And like Mr. Joe, prayer is powerful, and, that's something we can go to. If you have faith, that's what the Bible says. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Mr. Patterson?
I just want to say thank you to all of our emergency service, and I'm not gonna start naming names, I'll forget somebody, and our chairman and county administrator for all they have done, the meetings they've had. I wish this county knew the hours y'all put in, to get us to where we are today. It may not have seemed like that to the, citizens, but I can assure you that our personnel and employees, and our, chairman are working extremely hard to ensure that our employees are taken care of so that we can better serve the citizens of this county. And I do, like all my other colleagues, encourage everyone to take precautions as they see fit, protect their family and those who aren't able to protect themselves. This is an unprecedented time, and we will take it a day at a time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a
Yes, sir.
or an observation? City Council member Gary Kirkendall, I know some of you know him, had quadruple bypass surgery. He was in surgery for well over 6 hours today, and is doing well. We got a report late this afternoon, so please keep Gary and Toddy and their family in your prayers. It was very unexpected. He went just to have a routine checkup yesterday and underwent quadruple bypass today.
Thank you for sharing that.
I appreciate it.
This is, we've got a small crowd. Is there anyone else would like to say anything that we are questioning us or anything from the audience? Hearing none, because this is an unprecedented time, Ms. Anderson, I didn't ask you ahead of time, but before we adjourn, I'm going to ask you if you would lead us in prayer. Do you mind doing that? Thank you.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your grace and your mercies. We thank you for who you are and what you are to each of us. We ask that you be in our midst as we go through our day-to-day activities and lead us and guide us in the things that will be pleasing in your sight. We ask forgiveness of our many sins and keep us mindful of your goodness. And as we leave this place, we ask that you take us to our individual homes where we will find our family well and safe, and that all things will be well. This is my prayer. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Wood, is there a second? Second by, I believe, Mr. McDaniel. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Thank you.
Those phones will have to take, sir. Warren, that's right.
We're gonna fight it tonight. Sure.
1 hour,
we're out.
That picture shows God is in charge.
Well, I didn't see it. Hey, I was trying to.
Let me see what she said. What?
It's very inspiring. That picture. We got to do that.
Thank you, Greg.
Yes, sir.